We have an update on the WWE return of Brock Lesnar. Plus, we have an update on the unprotected chair shot from AEW Blood and Guts. And an ex-SmackDown stars are making their Ring of Honor debut tonight. It's all in the Cultaholic wrestling news right now. So yesterday, as we reported in video one, Triple H and Nick Khan met with Sadiq Khan, the Mayor of London, to talk about WrestleMania in the UK. And afterwards, there was conversations with the press, including an interview with the Daily Mail Sport. And Triple H was asked about how close we are to seeing Brock Lesnar back in a WWE ring.
He replied, "You'd have to ask Brock Lesnar that. Brock does his own thing. He's up in Canada, I'm sure, watching his kids play hockey and enjoying life. If and when he decides that he would like to do something, we would be open to the conversation. But we will see." Obviously, Lesnar's not been on WWE TV since being implicated in that Janelle Grant lawsuit against WWE. That's still ongoing at the moment. It's on hold, isn't it, while the federal investigation takes place. So it could be a while until that is resolved. And you're talking realistically a few years until that's resolved. So will they bring him back to TV? I think the fact that he said that they're open to it means that he'll probably come back before that situation. Because
Triple H very much puts the ball in Lesnar's court there and goes, hey, we'll see if he wants to come back. But if he can't come back, if there's ramifications should he come back, or if there's a messy business while he come back, then it's not fair to put it in Lesnar's court. Not that you know, it just seems like if they're making a deliberate decision to not bring him back.
Yeah, I think the fact that I get what you're saying. I think the fact that they
not fair to Brock Lesnar sounds too sensitive to Lesnar. I don't want you to think that.
I get you. I think the fact that they've said they're open to it means that something might be in the works potentially. There's a lot of matches now. We've got a really different roster in some ways to the roster that we had when Lesnar was last there, and there are a lot of matches that I think a lot of people want to see, most notably Gunther.
Oh yes, well, that's kind of where we were going towards WrestleMania before he was pulled from all programming, because he was set to be part of the Rumble. He was set to have creative for the Elimination Chamber in Perth. And he was set to do stuff at WrestleMania and all that, put the stoppers on it. But yeah, a lot of new matches for Lesnar in the wake of his absence.
Do you miss him?
Do you know what? I'm not sure. I feel like we've only ever seen him under the creative control of Vince McMahon. And it was basically, he was just like, oh, we're bored, let's bring Lesnar back and just mow through everybody. I'd like to see a more cerebrally booked Brock Lesnar.
Interesting, okay.
Like, I don't want him just to come back and just go, oh, hello, I'm Brock Lesnar. I'm in the main event of WrestleMania. Have a lovely day. I want some story stuff around him.
Yeah, because most of the time when Lesnar's there, he's in and around the world title picture. So to see him doing something else would be really, really interesting. I agree with you. I miss him tremendously. I think there's nobody else in wrestling history quite like Brock Lesnar, and obviously it'd be good to get all this stuff dealt with first, and they know a lot more about that than us. But yeah, I miss him on TV. I really do miss him because he's so unique.
A former opponent of Brock Lesnar, Bobby Lashley, in the news this week as well. It has been reported that Bobby Lashley and MVP both moved to the inactive roster internally, and it seems as if, according to reports, that both are on their way out of WWE. Triple H was asked if he had an update on Bobby Lashley and MVP's WWE status, and he said no. Just like any sport, any business, we sign talent and talent contracts run out and we release talent. It's just part of the process, so it's an ongoing thing.
I don't know why you wouldn't fight for Bobby Lashley. It seems like Bobby Lashley wants to do other stuff. We've heard rumors, at least, that we might see some sort of variation of the Hurt Business in AEW. But Lashley was really over. I mean, they were trying to make that stable heels, and they were over enough that they just sort of had to go, oh no, all right, the baby faces, because people are cheering them so much. I think Bobby's class, so good, and he came back and he proved a lot of people wrong. I remember thinking when he first was rumored to be coming back, it's like, well, it'd be great to see Lashley again. I like what Lashley does, but realistically, maybe as time's passed, we're not going to see him as like world champion in WWE or anything. Totally proved wrong, and I was so happy to be proven wrong because he was he's been fantastic. So it'll be interesting to see what he does next. I can't quite work the story out.
It's been said that he's up for wrestling and fighting outside of WWE. WWE. A lot of people kind of put the idea of getting the Hurt Business back together in AEW. Kind of like to see him do TNA again, to be honest. I know that seems... I know. Tom says an indie guy wants to go to TNA. What a shocker. It's almost like he likes TNA. Leave me alone, mother. But I'd like to see... I remember the golden era. One of the many golden eras of TNA where the creative was just give Lashley all the belts. He had every belt at the same time. Mm-hmm. What a guy. But then he did some great stuff with Drew McIntyre when he was with Galloway. I think they headlined a Bound for Glory together. I'd like to see him have another cheeky run there.
If he fancies fighting again, surely it would be of interest to be affiliated with WWE just because of the UFC connection.
Well, he did stuff with like Bellator, so he doesn't necessarily need to be in UFC to fight again.
I think that UFC would book him. He's a massive name.
He is a massive.
They book Punk.
But who's to say? Who's to say that he wouldn't leave WWE but still get booked by UFC?
Yeah, I don't know how it works.
Yeah. I mean, I can't see that being an issue.
No, for sure.
Moving over to the AEW side of things, and it was Blood and Guts match on Wednesday, and it saw Jack Perry chained to the cage and just get a chair hoyed right at his face. And obviously this upset a lot of people because it's an unprotected chair shot in 2024. What are we doing? We've looked at concussions. What are we doing? And Corey Graves made some comments about it online. He's since deleted the tweet, but he was just basically saying, look, it seems like a crazy thing to do at a time where we know about the effects of CTE and when, you know, you're in a profession where you have to protect people.
And this is coming from a guy who suffers from memory issues and various brain-related stuff because of some of the stuff that he had done in the ring. I mean, he had to give up pro wrestling because of brain-related issues, concussion issues. So I think it was a really, really fair point. But an update from Wrestling Observer Radio saying, I can tell you this, it was one of the shaved-down chairs. I don't know how shaved down that is. I don't know how soft that is, but it was a gimmicked chair. But still, they waffled that dude with that chair. I mean, you could sort of tell it bent more than you would normally see a chair bend when somebody is hit with it. I think it's a scary thing to do, and there was serious impact there. If it was gimmicked, which it sounds like it was, then good. But man, that impact was serious, wasn't it? It was.
Oh, sorry, my soy milk went down the wrong way. But I think that you could have had that match without having that chair shot.
It was pretty brutal anyway, wasn't it?
Yeah, you didn't. The match didn't bend or break on throwing a chair at Jack Perry's head without being able to protect him.
Yeah.
It didn't. It could have done. There's a multitude of other things that you could have done in that match.
I saw people comparing it to the Cody AJ match because Cody at one point, you know, when AJ jumps up to do the springboard, the recent match, Cody lobs a chair at AJ, but it didn't hit with the same force. It's when AJ falls back, and I think it was different. I mean, it's got people talking, I guess, playing devil's advocate a little bit here, but it got people talking, and it was a brutal match anyway. Maybe it didn't need it, and we probably are past needing that sort of thing.
We need him.
So many people have been really, really messed up by this stuff.
Exactly.
But we should know. If it was a gimmick chair, maybe it wasn't as bad as it looked and sounded.
That's the nice thing to hear. If it is a gimmick chair, it's a bit safer to do that sort of thing. The new TNA World Champion, Nick Nemeth, has his first title defense next week on Impact. He's facing Mustafa Ali, the former X Division champion, on TNA Impact. And a great promo last night between those two. Ali claiming that what happened to him in Montreal is the biggest screw job in wrestling history. Really fun moment at Slammiversary with Earl Hebner coming out, refusing to do another Montreal screw job, redeeming himself in Montreal. And we're getting an Ali Nemeth TNA title match next week, which I think would be banging.
Great first opponent for him. It's going to be a really, really good match. Looking forward to seeing what they do with Nick Nemeth as champion. I'm not sure how long he'll be champion, but people still upset about Hendry, but I think you've got to be open-minded about these things, and I think that'll come at some point in the not-too-distant future, hopefully.
I'll tell you what is in the not-too-distant future. Do you know there's a Ring of Honor pay-per-view tonight? That crept up on us, didn't it?
It certainly did, and a couple of ex-SmackDown stars are going to be making their Ring of Honor in-ring debuts.
They are indeed. We are going to see the Maximum Male Models, who had a video package on Ring of Honor the other week, now known as MXM. They are debuting debuting against as yet unnamed opponents on the Ring of Honor 0 Hour pre-show.
Pre-show? It's outrageous now.
Horrifying behavior. I think you're trying to pull people into Ring of Honor, aren't you? And they're the sign of what they're trying to do with Ring of Honor by bringing in a big name that's exclusive to Ring of Honor. Mm-hmm. And that's the whole thing for them. And I think if this becomes the premise of where they go with Ring of Honor and they put more emphasis on it, then I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I agree. I'm looking forward to the match, and I really do wish the best for these two, because I think they were dealt a rough hand in WWE, and they seem like the soundest blokes going. They're really, really entertaining to watch. I think like you put them anywhere on the card and you're just going to have a good time. You're not going to be at any point looking at your phone or pissing about or anything like that. They're good lads, aren't they?
They are good lads. I'll tell you who else is a good lad. Mike Waters, otherwise known as UK wrestling legend Bulk from the UK Pitbulls. With Deadpool and Wolverine out this weekend, I discovered that he's in it. Right. So we have a UK wrestling legend in the biggest movie of the summer, and I had a Zoom call with Mike yesterday to chat all about it.
Nice.
So he's on the podcast feed right now. Very minor Deadpool and Wolverine spoilers in there. We don't give away too much on the plot, but you find out what Mike does in the film, and maybe gives away one of the new Marvel characters that pops up in the universe.
Salad Man.
He plays Salad Man. That absolutely makes sense for him. And speaking of big things happening in the UK, we talked about WrestleMania. It's all in next month. Mm-hmm. Wembley. Ross had a go at predicting the card on the channel.
He certainly did. He did a hell of a job. We got some great stuff coming up this weekend as well. We've got a couple of lists and Fraser's latest worst shows ever. Team WWE versus the Nexus, SummerSlam.
Oh.
Have a good one. That's on the channel on Sunday afternoon.
And for the latest wrestling news throughout the day, you can check out Cultaholic.com. Stay safe. Love you. Bye.